Well, something happened. Whew. Okay. Well, I took a 30-day social media pause just for the fun and experiment of it. And that 30-day pause turned into like an 80-day pause because something happened. So I'm going to tell you what happened. Thank you for the people that have reached out and noticed my absence. It's always just so heartwarming. So thank you for everyone who noticed. As you can see, I'm okay, and that's the most important thing. And also, I've had some time. There's been time that has passed since this occurrence. And so I've processed a bunch of it. I've emotionally processed it. So just to let you know about that. And yeah, in this video, I'm going to tell you what happened, tell you about my key takeaways, my lessons and learnings, of what I make of it, and then what's next for me, because it is a total and complete shift of my life. So let's get into it. First of all, what happened? Well, I'm just going to go right out and tell you. I have been delaying this a little bit. It's still, even though I've processed everything, I know I have a good head on my shoulders about it. At the same time, it still exists, this heartbreak that, well, I guess you'll understand. But what happened was I was in Uruguay at a campground, a very one that was considered secure. And, well, in the middle of the night, my motorcycle and the majority of my possessions were stolen. I'll just run through the details of what happened. I know people are curious about this stuff, so I'll share the details. I think it's more important, the lessons learned and the takeaways. But yeah, here's the details of what happened. I was in Uruguay in a place about an hour outside of Montevideo. I had gone to a campsite that I had looked up. I had seen their Google Maps page and reviews, and they even had a website. It was a place that had camping, glamping, and they even hosted weddings. And so they had this beautiful website, and I thought it was going to be a great place. And yeah, I arrived with my motorcycle, as I usually do, and just see if I like it, check it out. When I arrived, I asked oh, I'm interested in camping. Can I check out the place? And they didn't let me walk around, which I thought was strange. It was the first time that's happened. Where usually they're oh yeah, we have this, we have these amenities. But they said no. And then so I just asked them about all the normal questions that you ask as a motorcyclist. I learned that, they have a restaurant. There's a little area for camping. It's a fully secured place with a fence that's all around, and the gate is closed at night, with chain locks or whatever. And then they have a security through the night. And this place has a very nice structure. Again, they have glamping, and they have a pool. It was right near the beach. And yeah, I actually had not a good feeling. I thought I'd maybe stay there many days, but once I got there, I felt actually this isn't quite as what I thought it would be. But I decided to stay anyway because it was the afternoon. I didn't really feel like I had a better alternative. And the next day, I wanted to go to a mechanic to get a new tire. So I just figured it's fine for a short time, and then I'll go to a different place after. So I stayed. They allot you, they assign you. Ooh, a motorcycle noise. How perfect. It's a loud little motorcycle. Hopefully this mic drains out the outside noise. But they assign me a specific lot. They put a bracelet on me, it felt very professional, or whatever word you would say. And I, set up my tent and my motorcycle, right near my tent. And the next day I went to Montevideo, which was like an hour ride, to get a new tire. I met a great mechanic and who was later very helpful in this process of what I went through next. And I came back and I spent, the rest of the day and just on my computer at the restaurant. I was up like a little bit later than usual, but I went to bed and I didn't put my extra security. The truth is I've stayed at many, many, many campgrounds in the last 4.5 years. I've been just roaming around Latin America on my motorcycle. And when I feel like I'm in a secure, it's already super secure, I had thought, it's fully enclosed. There's security, there's cameras, there's people around. It wasn't a very large place. It was quite intimate, actually. And yeah, I had thought about it, but I didn't do it. I didn't put my extra wheel lock or my cover. I almost always do that, and this time I didn't. It only takes one time. So I went to bed, and in the night, I woke up to a noise, and it was a weird noise, and I woke up to it, so I was in a confused state, and I looked at my phone, which was in the tent with me, and I saw that it was 1 a.m., and again, this is all happening in like milliseconds, but I felt immediately very scared, like actually the most scared I've ever been in my travels. I feel like I've developed quite a thick skin, you would say, I guess, in my travels. I have experienced not great things that come along with traveling. I don't share them at all. Even with my closest friends and family, I generally don't share them because I don't like to put more energy into it. I'm sharing this because it's a big event, and I feel, to give those that I've connected with and supported, that have supported me so much, the update about my life. So, but generally I don't share, more of the tough, maybe uglier parts of traveling. I just don't think it's serving for me or others to place so much focus on it. But I have experienced a handful of things of unwanted and not great experiences, and it's just, they roll off my shoulder, really. But I have a tough, it surprises me because I don't consider myself tough at all. But my instinctual response, it's fight, flight, or freeze. My instinctual response in all my other things that have happened have been fight, which is, I'm the one who's most surprised by it, but I have fought, which was, it's such a crazy thing when you go into this instinctual mode, because it's literally instinct. There's no thought happening. So in some past experiences, it's been fight, but this experience was very different. It was fully freeze. I was frozen to the bone, scared as could be, and I felt a very bad energy outside my tent. And I didn't, for whatever reason, my thoughts were not about the bike, which again is usually my first thing. I have phantom phone thing, when you just anything will set off that thought of oh, where's my phone? I have that about the bike. I still will get it. If there's thunder, I think, oh, where's the bike? For the weather, or a noise, I'll think, oh, where's the bike? And in this moment, no thought about the bike, which is so strange to me. And in hindsight, I feel like it was all of what happened in my mind was a protection mechanism. And what got put in my mind, weirdly enough, but it makes sense because it's me, is I thought I didn't hear any other noise. And then I thought maybe that noise that I heard was just a dog. When a dog shakes and then their ears flap and hit their head. I thought the noise that I heard, because it was sort of this noise, I thought that it was a dog maybe, because I didn't hear anything else. And I thought it was just in passing. And then that got put in my mind, and then I just fell back asleep. In hindsight, of course, that was the noise of them breaking my wheel lock. But in the time, I didn't think that. And I think in hindsight, this was all a protection mechanism in order for me not to go out in the tent, because later I learned some information that was not good, that I'm actually very happy I did not go out of the tent. So let me try and speed this up, share a couple more details. Basically, I fell right back to sleep, and then I was woken up at 7 a.m. by the security guard who told me they stole your bike. And then from there, it was like chaos, like just dealing with it, everything. So he asked me, do you have GPS on your bike? I said yes, and because I was sleeping in a tent, I had my phone in my tent, I needed to go charge my phone. It had some battery, but anyway, we walked towards the restaurant. I was pulling up the GPS, and then he looked where it was, and it was only a few blocks away, and then he took off. And I also, in that time, I said, can you call the police? Call the police. And he said, yeah. And he phoned somebody, and it was on speaker, and I heard him talk to somebody or whatever. And then he saw the GPS location, and he took off. And I thought, okay, he called the police, and now he's going to see if he could go find it. Okay. And then I sat charging my phone at the restaurant at the campsite waiting. And then at about 9 a.m., the two owners, who I believe are a couple, they kind of just mosey-oned in and parked, and then kind of acknowledged me a little bit, and then sort of acknowledged the bike being stolen. And I was like, yeah. And then they were like, would you like us to call the police? And I was like, I thought the security guard called the police. And then they, didn't respond to that, and they called the police, and I was like, okay. And that was very weird to me. And also just the way that they kind of responded, I thought was very not matched to the situation. It was very complacent, and that was the overall feeling I got from this place about the whole thing, just complacent. Like someone stole a toothbrush, well, okay, but, what can you do? And anyway, so what are the other details? A lot of things, of course, occurred. Everything was on my bike. Almost everything was stolen except for my phone and my computer, which I was very happy that I had with me, and then some clothes. Everything else, passport, all of my cameras, my drives that hold all of my photos and videos and everything. That's probably the most heartbreaking. And just all of my belongings, my digital camera, my big digital camera to take nice photos. So yeah, from there, I of course went to the police. They were incredibly unhelpful. They kind of make you feel like, oh, they're doing something, and they give you this lip service, and don't follow through with anything. It just became clear over many days, dealing with the aftermath, trying to get everything, whatever, that they didn't care. I mean, I did my best to be on them. I went in there multiple times. It was exhausting, trying to get them to do something, and and they would just tell me stuff and then whatever, and kind of do stuff. And anyway, what else can I tell you that might be of interest? Well, it was fishy. The security guard said that he was patrolling the beach, and that's why he didn't know it happened. Again, if you're a security guard, you're meant to keep the people and the things, the vehicles, secure. And it's just a small little area where people are. So how so much time passed? I mean, it would take some time for them to get out of this place with the motorcycle. I still have no explanation how they got out of a fully fenced in, gated place. And yeah, it was, anyway, what else? So yeah, it sucked. It sucked a lot, of course. And also, many of you know that the motorcycle is not just a vehicle for me. This isn't just a trip that I'm taking, a 1 year, 2 year trip, South America. It's been my life. I just was making motorcycle life my lifestyle over the last 4.5 years, just sort of living off the bike. It was the lifestyle that I had created for myself. So losing the bike felt like losing my home, all my possessions, and also just my ways of being. It was like, this is how I was living and working, even though I wasn't generating a lot of work, but it was sort of the way that I saw myself just continuing to build my life. And so, it felt like a lot. And I'll get to my takeaways in a second. And it was frustrating because of this illusion I was under and feeling like not getting the appropriate response to it and not getting the help from the campsite or the police. My mechanic was very helpful. Another motorcyclist was very helpful. Yeah, a part of me wants to ask, and people who are watching this, something that you can maybe do if you want to help. By the way, if you want to help, you're welcome to contribute something to my Ko-Fi or Venmo or PayPal. It's always appreciated to just help me create this new life of mine. That's always appreciated, but of course not necessary. But I was thinking, what should I ask anyone who's watching this to put a negative review on this campsite so that they can, suffer the consequences of theft at their campsite? I mean, I had heard from the local motorcyclist that I had connected with that there were other thefts. An actual other motorcycle was stolen from there. And then other sort of petty theft, which is, I think is totally unacceptable. And so a part of me wants to say, kind of with justice, this campsite should not have the privilege of offering a supposedly secure place to travelers. I don't know how I feel about that. If you feel that that's something you want to do, I'll leave the link and do it. I'm a little two-sided about this because I don't know if it's the right energy to be in. And secondly, I believe in karma. I believe that karma takes care of everything. So there's that. I also want to highly mention that I take full responsibility of this. This is completely my responsibility. The security of my bike, my possessions, everything is my responsibility. My life, everything that happens in my life is my responsibility. So I take full responsibility for it. And with that, I'll go into my takeaways. I'm going to try and be short about this because I don't want to, not everyone's going to want to hear this kind of stuff. Some people know that the way that I look at things is on the energetic level, and I do my best to use my mind and attention in an intentional way. So here's my takeaway, and I'll explain it, I think, in the simplest way possible. And this is what was going through my mind equally with the heartbreak. I felt very much empowered. And I felt like, okay, this is a sort of a worse moment for me. This is sort of the thing I dreaded that would ever happen, which is key, but I might not go into that part. So this, for me, was like a worse moment in my journey of life. And I thought, okay, first of all, so many people have way worse moments. And second of all, people who have had terrible things happen to them, those people that have had terrible things happen to them and have grown from it have always, 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 hands down, said that there was a giant gift in that terrible moment. And that was the thing I kept reminding myself, and I kept very much ahead in my mind, even though I could still feel the heartbreak of it. I was very much clear that there is a gift in this. I was like, I know that there's a gift in this. I may not see the gift right now, but there is. And the more and more I moved my perspective towards that, I could see it, and I already feel it. And I know that there's even more that I'll be able to see in how much that this terrible moment also contains a great gift. So I look at it with that perspective. And that's my biggest takeaway from all of this. There's more that I can go into and more that I've reflected on how it could have happened. And so someone might ask, well, if you're so intentional, if you're so positive, how could this happen? And I have a very good explanation for it. I don't know that I want to waste everyone's time because not everyone's into this stuff. But I do want to say that the thing that has just helped me the most, and the thing that I take away from it, is just how I perceive it. I also don't perceive it as a giant loss. I give it up, like it's a great opportunity to practice surrender. And so I feel grateful for that. And I also feel grateful for everything that it passed afterwards. I felt extremely lucky. There were so many details. I'll share a few just to help you understand. But with all of these details and how everything passed, I felt very much like that this is divine intervention. That might not be something everybody has an interest in, but for me, it is. It's everything. And I felt it, and I could see it very clear. I felt very lucky. One amazing person that always comments on my videos, Sid from Australia, he nicknamed me Lucky, and I feel lucky. And even in this moment where you could perceive it as a great loss, and technically, tangibly, tactably, it was, but I don't perceive it that way, because I know that nothing that is truly yours can truly be lost. I know that whatever is taken from me will be replaced tenfold. For example, just things that I choose to perceive it. On the grand scheme of life, it's not a loss, it's just a redirection. So that's my big general takeaways. Let me see if there's anything else. Oh, and the reason why I feel so very lucky still is the timing of it all. Some bits, there are so many parts, but some of it is that it happened just days before my mom's annual visit. Some of you know that my mom comes to visit me on the road every year. I've made some videos with her. But she was expected to land in Buenos Aires just 6 days after this happened. And essentially, it gave me the ability to re-buy some stuff like sneakers, basics that are sort of necessity, because I just had my motorcycle boots, and my big backpacking backpack. And essentially it was a smooth transition from being a motorcycle traveler to now a backpacker for a bit. So I sent her back with my boots and my helmet that I had with me next to the tent, and she brought my backpack and I replaced some. She was able to bring me stuff from the States, and relatively smooth transition. So that's one of the many reasons, other reasons I won't explain, that I feel very lucky in this situation. Another detail I haven't yet mentioned, where I feel very lucky, is one of the local motorcyclists had shared with me that he also had a motorcycle stolen while he was camping in Uruguay, and he got shot. They shot him. He's okay, but they had a gun and they shot him. And him sharing that with me, I felt like, wow. I think That is why all these things were in my head. And I did not go out of my tent. I didn't even think of my bike, because perhaps had I thought of the bike and somebody was trying to steal the bike, I would have gone out. So this is very crazy for me to think about just how it passed, but that's another reason I just feel extremely fortunate, blessed, and just happy that I have the most important thing, my life, my well-being. So another detail. So part 3 of this video is, what am I going to do next? Well, I do see this as a big gift. It really had me just start from square one. It's like, what do I do with my life now? Because I have no home to go back to. I have no work to continue doing. That was my life. I don't have the funds right now to replace my things. That's not possible. So it's really kind of forced me to look at my life in a different way, and it gave me a lot of clarity. I'm not going to go into much detail about what I'm doing next. I'm just going to keep that in a sacred space right now. But it gave me a lot of clarity. I just realized, this is what I'm meant to be doing. And I have another passion that has just been, it's been on my heart always. And I always felt that I would do it after the motorcycling. But this gave me the clarity of now's the time. Now's the time to do this. So I'll be focusing on a different passion, but it's not the end of motorcycling for me at all. Motorcycle travel is very much in my heart, and it's something I also can't stop thinking about it, but this has had me sort of reshift the priority. This other thing that I'm now beginning to build, I see it as the foundation. Maybe life will show me different, but this is the way I see it now. This other thing will be my foundation, and then I will sprinkle in the motorcycle travel in the future. So I believe it'll be at least a year until I'm able to receive enough money maybe to buy a motorcycle again, or start motorcycle traveling again, because there's a lot to invest in, of course, and also just focus on this other foundation that I'm building. So it might be a year. Right now I'm in Argentina, in a small little town. So I'm still living on the road. That's still very much my life. And I very much see motorcycle travel in the future. And I even have other inspirations for how to share in a different way that's also more close, I think, to my heart and what I'm maybe meant to share and give and serve in the world of motorcycle travel. But that's it. I'm back on social media. I'll be sharing parts of my life, and there will be more motorcycle adventures in the future. Thank you so much, everyone who has just commented and been a part of my little motorcycle YouTube journey. I know that I haven't shared a lot in this last year. It's, I guess, been part of this shift, and this was kind of the rug that pulled out and kind of had me refocus. But I know there's more in the future. I really do genuinely and honestly believe that. It's just going to be a different structure to the structure of my life. And that's it. I send you all very big hugs from Argentina, and just thank you so much for all of your love and support along this journey. Again, it is just such a cherry on top to sharing online. So thank you. That's the update, and see you on the flip side.